Okay, welcome back. So today for Lab 4, we're using the dairy simulator from the previous video slash lab. Um, all Tower 1 and Tower 2 values are going to go in the historian. Now, the historian is a very, very in-depth system, I would say. So going, you can see that there's this little clock for our fan speed. If we go to edit tags, and then we go to history, usually this little true will be false. And so by enabling it to true and having our storage provider, which is a database that you can enable through Ignition. Okay, apparently I'm not logged in. But anyways, yeah, here's our databases. So I already had this this SQL database ready to go. I tried working with a personal new connection for this lab, but I was not able to get it apparently to get it working. But regardless, your database is it's very important because that's how you have to that's what you have to use for your historian to work properly. So going back to the instructions, pH, temp, and fan speed for Tower 1 and Tower 2 will all be configured as on change. And so the tag historian is very important because it allows you to keep a history of the numbers that your tags are producing. So you see it's constantly changing right here. Basically, if you want to use that with like a chart or a graph, you would need to have a history of how that number's changing, what it's looking like. And that's very important for, a real life application because if you are working in Ignition for a factory or an industry, you're gonna need data points, um, a lot, a lot of data points, and so having it to on change um, makes it keep a record of every time this number changes, it logs it. It keeps a record of it. You can make it periodic, or you can make it a tag group. Periodic would mean it'd be like every once in a while you see we have 1 second, we have hours, we have days, weeks, months, and years. So it all is very relevant to um, what you specifically need it to be logging and when. All right. So all other store tags will be periodic. So you can see that my fan speed that was on change. My pH and my temp are also on change, but makeup this we can see is just periodic in our little sample mode. Um, so compressor 1 and compressor 2 values must be scaled to their actual values from their raw input values, and these will also be stored in the historian. So navigating our way from Tower 1 and Tower 2, we go to Overview, and there's our motors. Don't think that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the compressors. That's what I'm looking for. So here are all of the all the different details that are related to our compressor. Um, and so we have our line voltage, our motor amps, our inlet oil pressure, and our inlet oil temperature. And so all of these are the initial values right here, and these are what we're going to change them to. Now I have already changed them. But you can see with my line voltage and my motor amps, they're already in the historian because there's this little, yep, history enabled, that little clock. So going to edit, we scroll down, and so we see all these different details. So this one is currently on change for every second. We have our history enabled. We have no alarms connected to it. But right here is where our numbers had to change. So we used to have a range for motor amps of 0 to 100, and now we have it from 0 to 20. So you can see our low limit is 0 and our high limit is 20. Now there's a bunch of different engineering units that you can use. Currently volts is not in here, which I did not change the engineering units for. What did I not change it for? The pressure. I need to change the pressure and the temperature because currently there are no units associated with those. So let's go to our in the oil pressure and in the oil temperature real quick. So here is our in the oil pressure. So we're going to right click and go to edit tags. And I just noticed this. We have edit raw. So this is our raw tag editor. And so our high is 150 and our low is 15. Yep, so there's our low, 15. There's our high, 150. And so if you are very interested in organizing your database for your tags in this way, go for it. Personally, that is not my style. So I'm not going to be editing it raw. I'm going to be just going to edit tag. And so you can still see that our low is 15 and our high is 150, but I'm going to change our engineering units instead of nothing to PSI because we're in pressure. And I hit apply and OK. And so you may not see any, great giant words come up that say, you changed it. But it's important to know that you did. And so going here to our temperature, I'm going to change our engineering units to Fahrenheit because that's what our instructions are calling for. Yep, degrees Fahrenheit. And now we can move on to the motors, but I am first going to change the data for compressor 2 as well because these are not in PSI or Fahrenheit either. So let's go ahead and change these real quick. Fahrenheit. Okay. So now that that's all good, we have to go to our motors. So here is our motors. They're in controls. So we have motor 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So motor 1, you can see our amps. Our history is enabled. We have alarms, and we have our value scaling. And so scaling for an input raw value of 0 to 103 representing the current for 480 volts and a 5 horsepower motor. And we need to find the common full load amps. The storage of current readings at a rate of at least 60 samples every 2 hours, and alarms for current readings are greater than 7.8 amps. So, we're going to go here, we're going to go to our edit tags, and we go to our history, and so here's our sample rate. I have it set to 2 minutes, and it's periodic because it goes off every 2 minutes, so it's not going off every single little change that it does, but it'll take a little sample period every 2 minutes, and it'll say, oh, at that 2 minute mark, this is the number that we have. Going to our alarms, here's our overcurrent alarm. And so it's enabled. It has critical priority because it's important. You don't want your motors flying all over the place. You don't want them getting too fast or too slow. And so currently I have it set to above 7.8 here. And yep, here we go. Our custom message is the motor is above 7.8 amps. So if you ever need a phone call setting to get a message on your phone, you can set it right here as well. And I have done this for all the motors. And by doing that, all of them have the exact same settings. So I'll show you what I did. So motor 1 and motor 2, I clicked the one in motor 1, and I did this for all of them, 1 through 8 actually, not just 1 and 2. And then I hold control, and I click the other one, and then I right click, edit, and now whatever you edit in here will happen to both of the tags. Or in my case, whenever I was first working on this project, it would happen to all 8 of them. So all 8 of these have alarms, as you can see. And here, I'll show you even from motor 1 to motor 8. Even motor 8 has an alarm and is stored in the historian. So we have this step done, and motors 1 through 4 should be displayed on window 3, and motors 5 through 8 should be displayed on window 4. And so we have our alarm window as well, because we created a new main window with the alarm status table. Now, I'm currently in the preview mode, but if I take off the preview mode and I go to our alarms window, here is our alarm table. So scrolling down in our component palette, it's way at the bottom, but here is our alarm status table. So as you can see, I've hidden, what alarms don't need to be going off, but there's a couple that fix themselves and then go back into a critical state because we marked that priority as critical, if you remember. And there's our little message, our overcurrent alarm. So it's saying, "Oh, we're over our current here. We need some help. We need some alarms going off," and that's why all of these are red. I'm not too sure about this one. I think this is just a sample alarm that's already in there. But yeah. Looking at window 3 and window 4, I'm gonna quickly go back to my navigation bar. I'm gonna put myself back in preview mode. So we have our button in the navigation panel. We hit the window 3 button. Bam, we're at window 3. And so I have our amps for motor 1, 2, 3, and 4. Motors 1 through 4, then motors 5 through 8. So going back to our navigation bar, then going to window 4, here we go, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And you can see all those numbers are changing in real time. So let me look at motor 8. So we're around 7.8. Yeah, you can see that's actively changing with this tag number, this tag value. It's actively changing at the same exact time, right on our window. And so, yeah, in our navigation panel, our navigation bar, our buttons clearly list where we go to. So if I hit the alarms button, it takes me right to the alarms window. We can see all the alarms going off. An important thing to note about our alarms panel, let me take myself out of preview mode again. If we click it, I'm going to quickly reset my panels. So I have my vision property editor. But going here, it's very important to know what alarms you want to set. So currently I have my active and unacknowledged alarms going off. So these alarms are active. You can see in the current state, they're active, but they're unacknowledged. I haven't I haven't done anything with them whatsoever. But we can also show our active and acknowledged, which currently there's none. We can show our clear and unacknowledged, which there's there's actually a lot. um, and then we can show our clear and acknowledged as well. So let me take those off. Yeah. So I think these are just a couple sample ones that have been put in here. But yeah, that's really about it for our projects this week. For the buttons here, I covered this in a previous lab, but I'll cover it again real quick. You go to scripting, and then you can see we open our window 3 with our window 3 button. But you can also go to the script editor, and here's the little script it puts in whenever you mess around with your action performed. It automatically puts this in here, which is great because I do not want to code with Python that much. I mean, besides that, I think that really is about everything for this project. I would love to explain the tag historian more, but it was such a hassle to get it set up. It was a very big hassle, and honestly, I don't know every single detail about it. So I would definitely recommend, if you are new to Ignition, which I am. I'm very new to Ignition. If you're new to Ignition, make sure to do your research. There's probably a couple tutorial videos around that you can find that will help you a lot more than I would be able to. But with that, I think that's it for this week. So, thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next time.